the 4th of September 1984. I'd only been here a short while, and I took my friend to see what I regarded at the time to be the most beautiful beach that I'd ever seen in the world, and it was called Cane Garden Bay. There was a beautiful rope swing hanging from a palm tree. I ran down the water until I got to my knees. I could run no further. I put my arms above my head, I dived in, and I hit my head on the sand and broke my neck.
It's 25 years since I was last here. It's where I had my accident. It's what put me in the wheelchair. But hey, that was a long time ago. It's pointless worrying about it. It's a celebration now. A celebration, 25 years being in a chair. Celebration of life and sailing the Atlantic Ocean. And what a great finish to a great project.
28 days ago, last Thursday, you started a journey that you thought it would take 17 days. Tell us quickly about some of the first problem and the second problem, the third problem you encountered.
I thought the problems were going to be the sailing. I thought we were going to have strong winds and it was going to be difficult. It wasn't that. Very quickly, we had problems with the generator, which broke down. We had bad diesel, which caused a problem with the engines, and both of those problems meant we couldn't have power to run the battery charger to keep the batteries operating the electronics, which meant that I had to do a lot of steering myself. The last week we'd not eaten very well.
Why is that?
Because the generator had packed up, which meant that we couldn't run the oven, so we had no hot food. All I had to eat, which might sound good, was chocolate and potato chips for 7 days.
I'm hungry.
And it must have felt very strange to get hot food suddenly.
It wasn't the biggest pizza, but it was plenty for me. And I only had 2 slices, and I was full. I didn't realise my tummy had contracted where we hadn't been eating for so long. And because it was so hot and so rich, 2 slices was enough, but it was the best tasting pizza I've ever eaten.
Will you eat chocolate again?
I haven't touched chocolate since we arrived. Maybe one day, but...
But you had enough chocolate for
I've had enough chocolate for
How about potato chips?
Yeah, maybe a packet or two, yeah. The physical problem that I had was my disability. I wasn't expecting the focus to be so much on my disability. And what do I mean by that? Well, Elaine, for 25 years, my wife has helped me in and out of my wheelchair quickly and easily. She gets me washed and dressed with no fuss. But on the boat, suddenly it all changes. You know, moving, constantly doing this, 28 days, not stopping, and to be lifted in and out and got dressed. So it made me feel, for the first time in 25 years, it made me feel disabled. I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I hated it.
Because you liked independence.
I like independence. I like people like you and I are talking now. You're not sat here looking at my disability. You're talking to me as a human being. And that's how I live my life. But for the first time in 25 years, I was recognising that I was severely disabled.
It feels rather humbling, really. Personally, I don't set out to inspire people, but what I do does inspire them, and if that's the case, then it's a responsibility I acknowledge, it's a responsibility I take very seriously, and hey, if this inspires just one person to get off their backsides and do something positive with their life, then I feel it's job well done.